Hello and welcome to this special two-part episode of History Laid Bare. Over these two episodes, we're taking a deep dive into the activities of two individuals from Finland during a conflict known as the Winter War. In the last episode, we looked at the exploits of Simo Häyhä. In this episode, we're going to be looking at the activities of Simo Häyhä, rumoured to be the most decorated sniper in human history. So sit back, relax, because here comes part two, Simo Häyhä's story. Nice to be back in the hot seat, Well.
Indeed it is, Bertie.
Yeah. In the last episode, we spoke about Simo Häyhä and his mega 450 kilometre run.
Well, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
You would and could.
You would and could.
You would and could. Does that even make any sense?
Yeah, it doesn't. But it is quite late, and it has been a little while since we last recorded. So
Yes. And
Let's-
this sudden power to keep something going to turn off. Pack it in.
we're having technical issues.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
So if you hear any strange noises in the background, as in one of our previous episodes, we are recording fairly close to a train line. There's nothing we can do about that. I'm very sorry. Also, Martin's not feeling very well.
No, I'm not.
He doesn't sound great, to be honest. Absolute.
No, I don't.
He's an absolute trooper.
Yay.
He's going to muscle through. He's going to earn his whatever he's earning. And
Probably me tea.
hey, and then happy
Pizza.
days. Pizza, love it. So how have you been, mate? You been okay?
Apart from being full of the leg, yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah, he hasn't been very well, have you?
Excuse me, sorry about that. No, I haven't been too well the last couple of days, maybe about a week.
Feeling better now?
Yeah, getting there.
He's getting there.
Better than it was the other day.
Well, that's fair play.
That's definitely saying something, but yeah, there you go.
That's what we like. So Simo Häyhä, had you heard of him before we started looking into the research for this?
Funnily enough, I had heard of Simo Häyhä before we started looking into the research for this. It was, I won't say it's something that caught my eye while we were actually in school.
In school?
In school, yeah, we're going way back
Oh,
there.
me and Martin did go to school together, but you are going way back now.
Oh yeah, I'm going way back. It's just one of them things. You're reading a book and you come across something so extraordinary you don't believe it, and then when you mentioned it, I was like, hang on a minute, I'm pretty sure I've heard about him, read about him. So I did a little bit more research and deep dive kind of thing, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember reading about him in school in year 11. Well, year 10 and year 11, to be fair.
See, excuse me, I'd heard sort of his nickname, because his nickname was the White Death, which is apt. And you'll find out why as we progress through the episode.
It's extremely apt
Yeah,
for him to have that nickname.
Absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
But I must admit, I wasn't particularly aware. Particularly?
Is that the word you're going for?
Particularly. There you go.
That doesn't even sound right at all.
Doesn't, does it? But,
No.
I wasn't particularly aware.
There we go.
Hey.
You got there.
Thanks, mate.
Yay.
I wasn't particularly aware of Simo until I come across the article, started reading up, and we're joined by a cat. We've got a third member of the crew today.
Yeah, I'm just wondering where he's going.
Well, we'll soon find out.
Probably hear some noise in the background if he goes in the window.
If you do, it's just our newest team member.
Yes, it's our mascot.
Yeah, do you want to give her a shout out?
Oh no, that's Kitty.
Oh, was that Kitty?
Yeah, it's Kitty.
Oh, okay.
I think Sally's in the living room.
Oh, right, okay. Happy days.
You'll hear Sally. She'll announce herself.
Oh, happy days. Okay, so Yeah, I'd never really heard of this guy. You had, though.
Mm. Only in bits and pieces. I was vaguely remember from what I read.
Yeah,
You're talking like 20 odd years ago there, Dave.
yeah. It's an extraordinary story, though, isn't it?
It is. It is a very extraordinary story.
Now, before we go any further, some of these names and some of these words
A Finnish.
They're Finnish. There's no other way to put it. They're Finnish.
No, there really isn't.
We can't dress this up. They are Finnish, and we're not.
I am not fluent in Finnish whatsoever.
Me by no means. I struggle to even pronounce half of these words. So if we do butcher the pronunciations, as always,
we do apologise.
We do apologise. We do try to do our research on the pronunciations of this, but it's really difficult to find some of them. So, and people do say them different and everything else. So we apologise. We're sorry. We're not doing it on purpose.
Well, you've always got regional dialect, haven't you? But that's a thing for another time, possibly.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't mind getting into accents, actually. That'd be brilliant. Okay, so Simo Häyhä, Häyhä, however you would like to, however it is pronounced, Hayhha.
I think it would be pronounced Häyhä.
All right, well, we'll go with Häyhä. Okay, so Simo Häyhä. He was born on December 17th, 1905 in, I'm going to have a go. Now, we discussed this word and we both said we're not doing it, but I'm going to try.
Go for it. Go for it.
Rautjärvi.
I'm going to say it sounds okay.
That sounds, yeah. I'm happy with it. Rautjärvi. Okay, so the spelling is Jaarvi. Rautjärvi. I do know that where there's a J, that's got more of a Y sound.
Yeah, that's
usually.
Usually, so maybe it is the correct pronunciation.
So Rautjärvi. I'm trying not to say it with an accent because I'm not trying to mock anybody.
No. That's something we'd never do.
Of course. So Rautjärvi in Viipuri province in the Grand Duchy of Finland, which at the time was part of the Russian Empire. Now that is important because.
Oh, this is very important.
Well, I say we let them find out when.
We need to bring the people. We need to pull them in.
Let's build the tension.
Build the tension.
Build the story. Okay, right. But remember, folks, Russian Empire. He was born in the Russian Empire. That is important.
So, our friend Simo. He was the seventh of 8 children born to Lutheran. I think that's the correct pronunciation.
Well, Lutheran.
Oh, there we go. Lutheran family. We discussed that before.
We did, and you said it right.
I know. What?
What the dickens?
What the dickens?
Go on. Anyway, Lutheran.
He was born to Lutheran farmers, Juho and Katrina. From a young age, Simo was hunting and he was skiing.
Right, so he was already sort of the outdoor life. He lived on a farm. He was hunting and skiing from a young age.
He seemed very much attuned to the outdoor life.
Comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, right, there's another word now coming up. Yeah. No, I've been fretting over this word all day. Okay.
This is why I left this bit for you.
Oh, please let me get this right, or at least even half right. Okay, so at the age of 17, he joined the Finnish volunteer militia. I'm going to do it. Suojeluskunta. I ideally hope.
I really, really hope you just pronounced that correctly.
At least partly correctly. Suojeluskunta.
If we end up putting this up on YouTube, it does not get slammed.
No, because there's a word in there that is not very nice. But
no,
it's Suojeluskunta. I'm saying it. Suojeluskunta.
It sounds correct. It sounds right.
Okay, so he excelled at shooting in the militia. I'm not saying it again. And he won many competitions and he filled his home with trophies. So that must have made his mum and dad really. So do you think maybe he was sort of destined for the what happened during I mean, okay, so obviously nobody could foresee the Winter War coming.
No one could foresee the Winter War coming unless...
Which was a smaller conflict within the larger conflict of World War Two.
Oh yeah, it was...
which we explained in the last episode.
We explained that in part one.
It was
like
in case you haven't heard part one, the Winter War was sort of a smaller conflict
within the larger context of World War Two.
Yeah, so it was a war within a war.
Basically, yeah. Russia was like, we want our land back. Finland was like, nah, mate.
Okay, so that's
the only way. That's the easiest way you can describe it.
Yeah, Finland had their independence from Russia for a long time, and they said no, you're not getting it back. No. So go on. You hit the next bit.
Nice. Well, our friend Simo, he was an introvert, and he didn't really like the spotlight. He preferred to stay in the back of competition photos and family pictures. And in 1925, he began a 15-month compulsory military service in the 2nd Bicycle Battalion in
I just said Viipuri
province.
Again, we apologise if that's not right.
I'm really struggling with some of these words.
So am I. It's difficult, but
we're trying to. It's just trying to get my tongue around the pronunciations of them.
We are trying to do it justice. We really are. Okay, but in 1938, Häyhä began his sniper training. Now, as we said in the intro, he was
known as the White Death,
and reputedly he was known to be the most decorated sniper with the most confirmed kills ever in history. That's what they say.
That's what they say, but if you're going up against someone like that who's got an eye like he had, I'll say it now, you ain't coming back.
Okay, so actually that leads nicely into this, because Major Tapio Saarelainen,
I think it's Saarelainen.
Okay.
To look at the spelling.
Yeah.
I'd say
we'll try and do it phonetically. So Saarelainen,
that might be the best idea to do it phonetically. To be
fair. He was Simo's biographer. He claims that Simo was able to estimate distances to within 1 metre, which is about 3.3 feet, up to 150 metres or 500 feet. So if he's anywhere up to 500 feet away, he can estimate the distance up to within
3.3 feet
or a metre. Okay, which is pretty impressive, but that possibly that's come from his hunting background and his skiing background. And
well, you'd think with him obviously growing up on a farm, hunting and skiing from an early age, you'd maybe, I'll say maybe, he was more than likely using a rifle.
Yeah, he will have been.
It could have been a Finnish-made rifle, or it could have been a Russian-made rifle. I would say if it was a Russian-made rifle, it might have been a Mosin.
Well, he actually, later on we'll find out he actually did use a Mosin Nagant.
Oh.
Oh. Yeah. Anyway, so, just to give this a little bit of context, how difficult this is, because I've fired a bolt-action rifle. Have you fired a bolt-action rifle?
No, I haven't actually fired a bolt-action rifle, but I've fired a semi-automatic rifle.
Okay, well, I fired a bolt-action rifle, and it's not easy.
To be honest, I wouldn't think that it would be.
And for this, during his civil guard training, he reportedly once hit a target 150 metres away 16 times in 1 minute with a bolt-action rifle. So I'm just going to run through the bolt-action rifle operation.
Wouldn't you need at least a magazine to do that? Or was he
was
balls out, round in, balls out, shot?
Reportedly, he was just that quick.
Wow.
Okay. So, in case you're unaware, a bolt-action rifle, it's an older type of weapon that uses a bolt. And I went on and I looked up the operation, and I'm going to read it now. And he did this 16 times in 1 minute and hit the target. We ready? Slide the bolt handle upwards and pull it back. This ejects the spent bullet casing out of the breech. Pushing the bolt forward loads a new round into the chamber. Pushing the bolt down locks the round into place, completing the action and making the weapon ready to fire. Now, having done it, it's difficult because as you're moving the bolt and pulling it back, it's throwing your aim. So then you've got to sort of complete the action, pull the bolt back, flick the casing, push it forward and push it down, then recenter that aim. And that is not easy. And I think I got about 5 rounds off in a minute, if I remember.
Was that good?
It was good for me.
Well, there you go then.
I was happy. No win. I don't think.
Ain't no white death though.
I don't think I hit the target once. I have to be honest, but I got 5 rounds away in under a minute.
I think that target would be sitting there going, "Oh, thank God for that."
Yeah, that target was the safest target on the range. But I couldn't possibly imagine doing that 16 because it's hard as well. It's not an easy thing to do.
Well, no, I wouldn't.
You're holding the rifle, so you're fatiguing in your arm.
Well, you will end up having the fatigue in your arm, but
plus the action of everything else. Plus, he was doing this in the cold. I did it in a nice, cushy, air-conditioned, heated rifle range. This guy was doing this outside.
Was you doing this at Alcar?
Yeah.
Thought so.
He was outside in the freezing cold. I was going to say freezing. Freezing cold. Doing this. And his life...
I personally think you were going to say something else.
No, I was definitely going to say freezing. But his life depended on this.
Well, yeah.
And I can't even contemplate. Having fired the same weapon he has, same type of setup, there's no way I could have done that 16 times in a minute. Not a chance.
Well, I suppose it comes from living on a farm, hunting, skiing. You just...
Yeah, it's not going to...
behave.
It's not going to happen on the main streets of Liverpool, is it? Let's be fair.
It's not going to happen on the main streets of Liverpool. You'll probably get somebody looking at you the wrong way and be like, "What lad?"
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But, you know.
So it does take a lot of time, patience and practice. And he was the best, so they say. And yeah, so he served his time as a sniper during the Winter War. And he used a variant of the Vosen.
The Vosen?
The Vosen.
The Mosin Nagant rifle. And of course, it was a bolt action.
Bolt action. Okay.
So,
tell us more.
Simo. He was nicknamed the White Death. Now, you've heard us mention this a few times. He has been called the most successful sniper in history. Most snipers now use, obviously, a scope. And they use a spotter. Nice. 2-man team.
Yep.
Nice.
So there's a telescopic device on top of the rifle with optics and range, and they've got someone next to them with a pair of binoculars or a rangefinder. Calculating the range, doing the math, and he just is. It's a 2-man operation. Now.
Yeah. Now. Our man Simo didn't use a scope. He used iron sights.
He didn't use a scope. Now, this might not mean anything to any of you, but he did no optics, no telescope on the top of his rifle, no one to tell him how far his targets away were. All he had was what was on his gun.
Now, he didn't want to change his competition winning method. Not only that, not having a big telescopic sight on top of his rifle made him harder to spot. There was no risk of lens glare from the scope of the rifle, and there was far less for him to maintain on the move.
Yeah.
So it does make perfect sense. He's as we've said before, he's been hunting since he was a kid. He's been skiing since he was a kid. His eye was trained for this. So telescopic sights also had a tendency to cloud up in cold weather.
Yeah.
And you don't want any of that if you're a sniper.
No, you don't.
One thing you've actually missed out a little bit there.
Go on.
Have you ever seen what happens when somebody stupidly sticks the tongue to a cold bar in winter.
Yeah. If it's cold enough,
If it's cold
you
enough,
will stick to the bar.
You will stick to the bar.
You will.
There was instances of people's eyes being stuck to their rifles, telescopic sights.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
I didn't know that. Wow. Really?
really,
Oh my life.
it's not a nice thing to see.
That sounds unpleasant.
Yeah, kind of thing.
Oh,
So there's another advantage
absolutely.
to not having a telescopic sight.
Absolutely. And see, Martin and I both wear glasses.
Yeah.
So you go out in the cold,
Oh,
they fog up. Okay, so yes, if you've ever been out in the cold with glasses on, you understand. It just goes foggy, you can't see. And it's even worse when you walk back into the warm. Oh, I have to take mine off. I can't cope. No, it's no
do
good.
you know what? I actually did that the other night going into work.
It's awful, isn't it?
And it had been raining. I get off the bus. Bus is nice and warm.
Fog.
And I'm like, oh.
Yeah, it's not good. It's awful. So, obviously, Häyhä didn't want that
No.
issue.
No, he didn't
Which,
want that issue.
It's fair enough. And again, he could, there's no risk of glare, there's no risk of any sunlight reflecting off his lens and giving his position away. And okay, so the iron sights, I just don't want any confusion here. If you've ever seen a cowboy film, the little pips on top of the pistol that the cowboys aim with,
they're your iron sights.
they're your iron sights, and that's all he had. That's all he used. Other little tricks he had. He was small. He was a small man, according to what I've read. He was about 5'3", which also helped with concealment. He used to dig himself down. He kept bread and sugar in his pockets for the calories to keep warm, and he wore multiple layers, which is obviously sensible if you're outside in the snow.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, but
it's gonna be definitely cold.
But Simo did it properly, so he would often prepare his positions before the sun come up, and would stay there until after the sun went down, and he'd build little snow mounds to hide himself while he observed the enemy movements. Also, he'd hard pack the snow. Now, I found this interesting. Hard packed.
Yeah,
This was clever. He'd press the snow into hard pack because snow in Finland is obviously different to snow than we have here.
Yeah, it's like a very fine.
It's a lot more
snow.
Powdery. It's a lot more fine. There's a lot more of it. So if you have ever baked, if you pat on the flour, it goes hard.
Yeah,
Same kind of thing.
Yeah.
So he'd pat the snow down, and he'd make himself sort of a hard snow wall, okay, that he would then use as his position. And when he fired, the puff of the rifle didn't puff snow up about him, so there was no way to know where the bullet was coming from.
I'd also like to point out he also used to put snow in his mouth to hide his breath.
That's not clever. That's just downright sneaky.
That's
sneaky.
That's insidious.
It's almost underhand, isn't it? You think, that's almost cheating.
It's a little bit naughty, but a little bit clever, and all genius at the same time.
Well, it was until he got shot in the jaw.
Oh.
It's not funny that he got shot in the jaw, of course.
I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So on the 6th of March 1940, he got hit in the jaw by an explosive bullet, no less, believed to have been fired by a Red Army soldier. Ouch.
Believed to be dead after the battle, Häyhä was placed amongst a pile of other dead Finnish soldiers until a fellow soldier noticed his leg twitching. Now, if I was a fellow soldier seeing a pile of me dead brothers in arms, now, you see enough war films, you see enough graphic stuff on the TV, you'd think, oh, it's just an involuntary nervous twitch. So, what made him go over and see if Simo was still alive?
Well, I read, I didn't actually put this into the notes, and I do apologise. I read there was a tear running down his face.
Due to the pain, maybe?
Possibly due to the pain. But yeah, I distinctly remember reading that. I could have that confused, so don't quote me. but there's something in the back of my head telling me that there was a tear running down his face, and the soldier noticed that as well.
So it wasn't just like
It wasn't just an involuntary leg twitch, because
twitch.
you don't cry if you're dead.
Well, no, that's very true.
Yeah.
But our hero in the story, he was immediately evacuated to the nearest field hospital. Häyhä had half his face missing. The bullet had destroyed most of his upper jaw, lower jaw, and majority of his cheek.
Yeah.
So that's one hell of a horrific injury.
That's an injury. That's yeah. And rumours apparently spread around Finland and the Soviet Union that the most prolific sniper had been killed. But a week later, on the day the Winter War ended, funnily enough, 13th of March 1940, he read about his own death in the newspaper, in the press, and he wrote a letter to his local paper to correct the misunderstanding.
He's just like, excuse me, but contrary to popular opinion, I'm not dead.
Yeah, no, I'm still very much here.
I'm in hospital.
Yeah.
Hello there.
I'm recovering. So it took 14 months and 25 surgeries for him to recover. Wow.
Wow, that's a lot of time and a lot of surgeries.
Yeah. Poor bloke, he must have gone through agony.
He must have done.
Yeah.
Hey, you never know, he might have been given some meth.
Let's not. Let's not.
I'm sorry, that's just a throwback to part one.
Part one. Yeah. If you haven't listened to part one, go back and listen to it. That is a really good episode. I enjoyed that one.
I did myself, but I'm sorry, I just had to throw that in there.
Okay. Right. So there's another hard word coming up, and I'm going to let you, because I've taken the last two. So go on.
So, post-war, Häyhä was given a small farm in Valkjärvi, southern Finland. He became a successful moose hunter, dog breeder, and even enjoyed hunting trips with the Finnish president.
The man's struggling.
I'm going to say Häyhä. I'm hoping that's the correct pronunciation.
I'm going to go a little bit different. I'm going to go Euro Kekkonen. What do you think?
It could be.
Your Erho could be Erho Kekkonen. We are so sorry. Just butchering pronunciations left, right, and centre.
I feel like we really need Google Translate for this.
Well, no. No. Do you know the sad thing though? After the war, the most prolific sniper in history reportedly received death threats
for his actions in the Second World War.
Yeah.
And sadly, I can understand this because he was an introvert, as we said earlier on. He tended to avoid crowds as his scars made him very recognisable. He never married and he never had any children.
Yeah.
As sad as that is, I think maybe no, it's sad.
It is. It is
sad. There's
nothing
else you can say.
No.
Because he was doing what he needed to do to protect his homeland.
Yeah.
He was protecting his family, maybe his parents and his brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah, and he was doing his, at the time, he was doing his duty. There we go. He was a modest man, and according to what I've read, he never boasted about his wartime experiences. He never spoke about it. He never took he didn't like any kind of praise or credit. And he was asked in an interview if he felt any remorse for killing so many people. He simply said,
I did what I was told to do, and I did it as well as I could. I believe there would be no Finland if everyone else had not done the same.
Now, that's about as basic as you can get.
That's about as honest
yeah.
you can get.
Yeah.
There's no more honesty than
he was a soldier and he was doing his job.
Yeah.
End of story.
To be fair, there's been a few times where people that I will not mention who've turned around and said, I was just doing my job.
But he was, though. That's the thing. He was doing his job.
And those people that I'm talking about, they use that as an excuse.
Yeah.
His
was a reason.
his was a reason.
Yeah.
He was defending his home.
Absolutely.
He was defending his people.
Yeah. So in his book, Military Chaplain, Anti-Rantamar, Anti-Rantamar, he credited Häyhä with an astonishing 542 kills. I mean, accounts vary, but none of them I've read go below 503 confirmed. That is 503 confirmed. Confirmed is the kills we know of.
Now you know why he's called the White Death.
Absolutely. Because what about all the potential unconfirmed kills?
Well, there could be...
Could be many, many more.
There could be many, many more. You know, a bullet could have gone straight through the target and hit something else and, I don't know, caused an explosion.
Yeah.
Or it could have ricocheted into someone else and killed them. Or
exactly.
You never know.
You just don't. So there is confirmed kills with his rifle. With his rifle. So I found, a Finnish army document was found, and it gives some of his actual stats. So I'll do a couple and you do a couple.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll go first. 22nd of December 1939, he'd been in combat for 22 days, and he had racked up 138 kills.
From 28th of January 1940, he'd been in combat for, I want to say 35 days?
Well, between
Is that between
the 22nd and 28th, there's 35 days.
Oh, yeah, sorry. So he'd been in combat, 61 days by that point?
Something like that, yeah.
And he racked up 199 kills.
Okay. So we get from the 28th of January to the 17th of February 1940. He was on from the beginning. So we're going from the start of the Winter War. The minute he started combat up to now, it's the 28th of January 1940, and he's got 199 kills, scoring 61 kills in the 35 days since the 22nd of December. Okay, now this is getting a little bit confusing.
It
is a little bit. So, on the 17th of February 1940, he had 219 kills. That's 20 in 22 days.
22 days.
Yeah, between 28th of January and the 17th of February, 22 days. He killed 20 people. That's just under one a day.
And the 7th of March 1940, one day after his injury, he had 259 kills. That's 40 kills in 18 days.
That's pushing 2 a day.
Yeah.
In those conditions.
In that cold.
Wow. Unbelievable. I mean, it's hard not to be impressed. It is.
I do have to put a disclaimer in here that we know that doesn't add up to 503, but these are only his reported kills.
Yeah.
So,
but witnesses and other documents, it racks up to around to no less than 503. However, the army chaplain who wrote a book on Häyhä credits him with 542, which is a lot. It's a lot of kills. To wrap this up, how did the world's greatest sniper end his days?
Well, our man Häyhä, Simo, he spent his final years in a veterans nursing home, and sadly he passed away in 2002 at the grand old age of 96.
Yeah, so there you go. That was Simo Häyhä.
The White Death.
The White Death. There's been songs written about him, and he's been portrayed in films, and I thought it was interesting. I liked researching it. I hope you enjoyed listening to it. Any final thoughts on this one, Martin?
Final thoughts. It saddens me to think that a man who was defending his own country from an oppressive regime wanting to claim back land that they said they owned, and he didn't, because the nation's a sovereign nation. got death threats for what he did.
Yeah.
And
I never found out where the death threats come from. I'm going to assume they came from Russia.
Well, we can't exactly say that. That could just be speculation
Yeah.
and conjecture.
Yeah.
We don't exactly know, so we'll put a pin in that one. A little bit of a pin in that one.
Fair enough.
It could be. Then again, it couldn't. We don't know. But I will say something now, and train.
That's the trains we told you about at the beginning.
Yeah, the one's just gone past.
Yeah.
I don't want to overly make this a little bit overly political, but
No, let's keep the politics out of it.
I want to keep the politics
Yeah.
out of it, but certain situations have shades of the Winter War that are currently happening now.
Well, yeah, they do.
So,
It seems to be, a recurring theme, unfortunately. And we wish all those under pressure over there. We wish them well. We wish them all the best.
indeed, we do.
Stay strong.
Yeah, stay strong. That's the main thing you can. Well, fight.
Oh well, yeah.
Obviously,
Defend yourselves.
defend
of course.
yourselves, but stay strong.
Yeah.
And our thoughts are with you.
Absolutely.
But other than that, I actually enjoyed these 2 episodes. I really did.
I did.
Because I think this is a part of history that we should be taught.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know the Winter War until I'd researched it, and we've got characters like Imo Koivunen and Simo Häyhä, interesting people who've done extraordinarily interesting things.
Yeah, and you never heard about it.
And I've never heard of either of them until I started researching these episodes.
Well, I think you were a little bit shocked when you said to me, "Oh, we're doing this." I was like, "Oh, really? We're doing that?" I was like, "Oh,
yeah,
that's something I know a little bit about." And you're like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, I didn't have a clue. Right, okay. Well, I agree with you. I think it's quite sad that someone who was, because he was, I don't want to labour the point, but he was just doing his job.
Yeah,
he was a soldier. He was trained to kill. That's what he did. End of story. Whether you agree, disagree, impartial, whatever, he was a soldier in a war, trained to kill, did his job.
Yeah.
Didn't boast, didn't brag. And I just think it's really sad that I agree with you there. He's receiving death threats.
It's it's not big and it's not clever.
That's assuming that the death threats were not from the other side.
Yeah, that is assuming that the death threats weren't from the other side.
Because
you never know, they could have been from...
Could have been from anywhere, really.
They could have been from anywhere, really. But we will say, it's not big, it's not clever, now or then.
Yeah, no, don't go threatening people. There's no need for it.
No.
So that was Simo. We're wrapping up our...
Two-part mini series.
Two-part episode, special episode, however you want to call it.
Two-part mini-sode.
Two-part mini-sode. I like that. Okay, next episode, wherever we go, we'll be moving away from World War II, I think.
Yeah, I think we do need to...
Let's branch out a bit and
move away from the obvious history.
Yeah.
I do apologise, there's banging in the background.
It's time we wrap it up.
But I will say, I did suggest something to David the other day for a possible Halloween episode.
Yeah, you did. Absolutely possible.
Hopefully we can get that done and wrapped up.
Halloween. Let's see if we can get the research in.
I think the research should be quite easy for that.
Yeah,
one, but,
fair enough.
We'll see if we can pull some strings and get that out to you.
Absolutely. In the meantime, I've been Dave C. Bannerman.
I've been Martin Ian Malmond.
This has been History Laid Bare. Thank you for listening. We'll catch you next time.
Take care, everyone.